There is only one relatively accessible sports car brand on the market today, and I am of course talking about Porsche, delivering distinct driving experiences, whatever segment, even all electric with the impressive Porsche Macan. The problem is, however, how do you follow up such an impressive car? And with the questionable electric future, there are of course many questions. But hopefully in this review, many of those questions will be answered with this all-electric Porsche Macan. Let's get what I consider quite a big elephant out of the room. Porsche was very clear in making the Macan all-electric. That seems to not be the case anymore. The Porsche Cayenne with their ICE engine will be continued even further. That 2030, 80% all-electric vehicles is also quite uncertain. So the future of the all-electric brand from Porsche seems to be as important as ever with this Porsche Macan. With all of that out of the way, I am happy to say that the Porsche Macan is more or less a home run. Porsche chose the right car to electrify. This is distinctly Macan, but also distinctly electric. It's different, but it still follows the design language from Porsche. These headlights are quite new from Porsche, and I'm not 100% sure of what I like about it, but let's talk about the paint and the extra options on this car. This is not a boring spec, quite on the opposite. Look at this incredible green paint, these extra option wheels with the extra option paint as well. There's of course extra options in the interior as well, but this exterior looks incredible. It will definitely stick out with this spec on your new all-electric Macan. It is slightly, and I mean slightly, bigger than the previous Porsche Macan, but it's much more heavy, 2.4 tons to be precise, and that is service weight. This car has a huge battery, 95 usable kilowatt hour, giving a claimed VLTP range of 614 kilometers. With this more cold weather that we have here in the Nordics, that means about 300 to 400 kilometers, depending on how you're driving, of course. While we're at the rear, I want to talk about the design here in the back. It's good, but it's very sloping, and especially around these rear lights, I don't know, it doesn't suit me completely. The front is definitely the headpiece of this new all-electric Macan, but what do you think? Let's continue on with the specs of the car. This follows on with the same or similar technology as in the Porsche Macan, meaning 800 volt architecture. That gives it a claimed charging capacity of 270 kilowatt. Not as fast as in the Porsche Macan, but damn similar, giving a claimed charging speed of 10 to 80% in just about 20 minutes. I need to talk about the competition and the price. Well, this is an expensive car. The base Macan starts at 940,000 Swedish kroner. This is the 4, meaning 4-wheel drive, and that makes it cost 980,000 Swedish kroner. That's about 85,000 euros. But this has a lot of extra specifications or extra options. That puts up the price 300 to 400,000 Swedish kroner, about 30,000 euro. So this is about 125,000 euro. I did not forget about the competition. What I would consider the closest competitor is the Mercedes EQE SUV. Well, they are not really in the same category, really. I think that is the most comparable competitor. Let's talk rear storage. To open it, you have a button here, but there's also a button on the driver's side, and if you press that one, you will find 540 liters of storage space. The lip is not completely flat, but it's good enough. A lot of sound deadening, however, makes it very cramped, and since you have such a raked rear windscreen, loading up further than here will be difficult. Luckily you have the 40-20-40 configuration to fold down the rear seats. This car comes with air suspension. Yeah, air suspension, and we'll talk about that further on. Which means that if you need to make it easier for you to get stuff in and out, you have these buttons here. And if you spec it out with the tow hook, you have that as well. Porsche has also maximized their storage in the front. You have this swipe to open, which is extremely temperamental. I don't know if I'm even doing it right. It works 1 out of 10 times. Now it worked for some reason. But here you'll find 84 liters of storage space. More than plenty to fit your cables. You can even fit a cabin bag here in the front. If there's one place where I was worried about the big battery becoming a problem, it was here. And I'm kinda right. Because you have to place the battery somewhere, especially this size of a battery. And that is underneath your foot. So my knees are up super high. Yeah, I do have some lower fire support, but it is not a lot. I do fit with my head, which I'm thankful for. And I do fit in general. I'm happy about that. It is Macan. You should be able to sit 4 people, even 5, relatively comfortable. You do have, of course, all the amenities that you need. Independent climate control here in the rear, USB-C plugs, carbon fiber, cognac leather, bronze details, everything that you might need here in the back. And it looks really good. Here is where you will find yourself the majority of your time in the driver's seat, and what a place to be. Porsche knows how to do interiors, and that is the case with this new all-electric Macan. They have gone the old school route. More buttons, simplified, nothing too gimmicky, just usable, sleek, and engineered to almost perfection. You have these cognac colored extended leather package, the carbon fiber inserts, the chrono package. This is a very extra option car, and you notice that when you drive it. This just elevates the driving experience. But other than that, there's a lot of tech that I still need to go through, and we'll do that right now. The digital gauge cluster is very simple but very customizable. This is the free standard gauge layout, but you can choose each of these different gauges depending on what you want to have with the press of your right thumb here. So there is G meter, there is tire pressure, there is battery charge. In the middle here you can go even to your navigation, and on the right side you have your trip computer, sports chrono package, your music, and whatever you want to have. But if you use your drive mode selector, the right hand side here will switch depending on which mode you are in. And if you go into off-road mode, you will feel the entire car being raised up because of that air suspension. Happy to say that it's simple and easy to use. A bit too simplified maybe compared to the competition. The Mercedes infotainment system is one of the most tech heavy on the market. This is much more simplified, but it's quick and responsive. And together with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, it is fantastic to use. However, some menus and some settings are quite deep down into the settings. You have to press here, you have to go to connections, hotspot, Bluetooth. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons or steps that you need to go through to be able to cancel stuff. The Porsche Macan all-electric, how is it to drive? I mean, high weight, quite a lot of power. Speaking of the power, 387 horsepower. In boost mode, 408, meaning 0 to 100 km an hour in 5.2 seconds. Not neck breaking speeds, but then again there's the 4S and the turbo for that. Don't be fooled though, this has 650 Newton meters, so it is extremely quick at accelerating and reaction. So, direct torque. And depending on which driving mode you're in, of course the whole car will change in its behavior, but this is a Porsche, and after 1 week with the Macan, I can tell you, or I can say that this feels extremely tight, very snug, very tightly engineered. It feels stable, but just it shrinks around you and gives you so much confidence. And when you go from normal to Sport Plus, the whole car tightens up even more. The steering response is sharper, the throttle response is even quicker, and the whole car just feels, a bit more reactive. The suspension is stiff, but not too stiff to feel like it is that classic electric car stiff. Electric cars often have that unnecessarily stiffness in its suspension. That is not the case here, and I think that is much thanks to that air suspension that can be calibrated in so many different ways and so many different times as well. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is done in 5.2 seconds in this 4 model. You have the 4S and turbo as well. That gives you a lot of extra horsepower, but you can see that I'm thrown around a little bit, and that means, or that's because air suspension has tightened up a lot, and that has also the steering down. But if I go to sport or normal even, the whole car loosens up a little bit. And you can relax and use this as a daily. And I think that is the important aspect to take into consideration with this Porsche, or any Porsche in general. You have that duality that is always available. Active cruise control, driving aid, safety features, there's a lot of them in this car, which is par for the course in new cars and also of course electric cars. And you can see here that the left side here is lighting up in yellow to keep me alert. That's just an example of how far Porsche has gone into the safety features and keep you safe as a driver. And the active cruise control, lane assist, all of those are top notch. There's basically nothing to complain about there either. If there's one thing that I absolutely want to complain about, is the drive, reverse, normal selector gear, is the gear lever basically. If you want to go to reverse, you can do that, but if you're in a hurry, it doesn't respond that quickly. So if I go back here, stop, want to go forward, yeah, it works, but you have to press the brake pedal very, very firmly. And if you're stressed, you will find yourself being in neutral when you want to move forward or reverse. What are my final thoughts for the all-new, all-electric Porsche Macan? Well, it looks like a Porsche, it feels like a Porsche, and it is a Porsche. It is the next chapter for electric vehicles for Porsche. Future will tell us what or how successful the all-electric Macan is. It's only electric future as well, but you pay a premium for it. However, this is top of the line and you pay for that as well. This is an incredible SEV, what I would consider a sports electric vehicle. And that is my final conclusion.